a fella with a jacket on, and he walked over to our door, and I was at the corner of the office. He moved his arms, and his coat was full of stuff. And I said, "Hey, what's in your coat?" And he pushed the door, and he started running. I go, "Shoplifter!" And Penny yells, "I'm on it!" So we go booking it down the alley where the ice cream shop is.
Did you catch him?
Yes.
Yes.
No, you did not.
So, I mean, it was insane what we did, and I kept
You're like,
calling
"Call
Shoplifter.
911." There were 2 Pendleton shirts he dropped in the parking lot behind the Bible bookstore, and then he's like, "Oh, I need an ambulance," as he's smoking a cigarette. We're like, "Well, maybe you shouldn't shoplift."
Mission accomplished.
Are you from Princeton or the surrounding area? Then chances are you've bought a pair of shoes from Herlinger Shoes. Well, this year they are celebrating 50 years in business. It's incredible. And today we talk to Elaine and Penny and Robin on the podcast, and we hear really funny stories, and we learn a lot about everything that they've been through for the past 50 years. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Princeton Podcast, your go-to source for everything happening in and around Princeton. Join your hosts, Zach, Mary, and Kim, 3 locals who live and work right here in Princeton, as we bring you the latest events, exclusive interviews with local businesses, and stories that make our town special. Your community, your stories, your podcast.
Well, welcome to the podcast. We have Robin and Elaine and Penny. We are so excited to hear all about Herlingers today, ladies.
Greetings.
We're glad to be here.
Yep.
And
Same.
50 years.
Wow.
Today we're coming to you from Herlinger Shoe Store on location.
Yeah, it's really fun. Celebrating 50 years. That's huge for you guys.
And now we are also on the Rum River Drive, not only 502 First Street. So we're at 2 locations.
Because it used to be O'Sells.
And and have you always been at this location from the start?
Yeah.
Well, yes, but only over there.
Yes.
Until we expanded, what year was that? Maybe 3, 4, 5
6 or 7.
6 or 7
wow.
years ago.
Maybe.
When she bought the building.
So, Elaine, you are the original owner.
Yes.
And tell us about what inspired you to even start it in the first place.
See, it's this way. In the very beginning, it was, should I say, my husband thought that probably I should be looking at going to work because he was sick of farming and he thought maybe I wasn't happy on a farm either. So he said, "Why don't you look around?" So it was in July of the previous year, and he came up here and he got a pair of shoes. And the Olsons told him they were retiring and selling. So he brings this home. And he said, "Do you think that's something you'd be interested in?" "Oh, my," I said. "I don't know." So I called them up and I said, "Are you sincere about a sale?" And they said yes. And I had a conference with them. And I came up here and worked for nothing and and learned the trade and the fitting and the buying. And then I got comfortable. And so then I was doing my Bible studies, and these little children of mine were outside playing in the snow, and is just a revelation came out of Scripture, where it's in Deuteronomy, where the words just lifted up and said, "I will send you to a place where God will show you the way." I knew then and there that was for me, and that was his plan for me in my life.
Wow. That's cool.
And that's why I'm here. And when he said that he would come, he sent an angel, and there's still an angel over that door as you come in on First Street.
Agreed.
Wow.
That's why this has been kept so sacred and kept so free of fire and theft and all of those things of nature.
That's
50 years, for
that
50
is.
years.
And what a good point about the fires, because over the years I've learned that this area has burned many times.
Well, it did 11 years before I came in here. So what would it be, 61 years old?
So that would have been that wall, right?
Yeah.
Where there was a fire?
Yeah, that was the wall.
So at the time that you bought Olson's over here on First Street, what was this area which I remember as
O'Sells.
O'Sells? It was O'Sells at the time?
O'Sell and Johnson.
Okay.
Yep.
And that family owned this, and was there always, because you could walk between the two stores?
Well, it O'Sells and Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, it was O'Sell and Johnson
And
back
then-
when we bought it.
Let's back up. Boyk's were in there as a jewelry store.
Yes,
where
that's
Wendy
right.
is.
Right.
So you could walk between the two always?
Well, listen, there was a hallway, and then we had locked doors to each of them, of us. But then we gradually dispelled all the locks and tore down the walls, and then opened everything up
Right.
for customer service.
And then you just had the same hours then.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
And so Penny is Elaine's daughter, just
Yep.
so we have that all straightened out
Yep.
here. So Penny, you grew up in the shoe store
Yeah.
basically as a kid.
Right.
And when did you start working?
I think. Well,
Wow.
you're right. Right away. I think that I even worked here during high school. They had on-the-job training, kind of like DECA, OJT, whatever. And so I would come up here like in my, I don't know, junior and senior year, and I worked in the afternoons and obviously every Saturday and all that. So, yep,
So how many years were you here?
all of them.
All of them.
Believe it or not, I was.
Yeah, because you were here from the beginning as a child, and I remember coming into the shoe store
Yeah.
when I was younger, and I remember you
Okay.
from back in those days. You and Elaine, I remember you coming in and with the shoe store and O'Sells, and I don't have any recollection of any wall or doors or hallway or anything
you don't
like that.
remember that?
No,
No.
Yep.
I only remember it being an open.
Yeah, it was a wall with we had a sliding door that would
I do
close
remember
at,
that.
at the end of the day.
How do you not remember that?
Well, because how long did you do that?
Oh, forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Till O'Sells was gone.
It hasn't been forever, but it was too much commotion with that hallway and who was going to take care of it, and we wanted more of a direct open to Boyk's and the whole bit. So that's why we tore down that hallway.
So
It was
people
you-
could also go to Boyk's?
Right?
Yep, the jewelry store.
In that same hallway was the door, and it's still
there. The door is.
Yeah.
But Wendy has covered it up only.
Yeah. You can see it on
But
our
it's
side
there.
in the closet.
Right.
Okay, I know.
Stop shop.
Yeah, you get your jewelry, you come and get. I mean, that's what was really neat about it, though, is that you could just kind of shop in one location, but it was all three separate, individually owned stores, which is really kind of a neat thing back then. Yeah. And Robin, when did you come in?
So I'll be here 31 years in May.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny, I worked at the tanning booth. You tell the story.
Well, no, it was one of the fun stories of our existence together. So, Robin is like a sister to me, but there was, they had the tanning booth, and I would go to the tanning booth, and Robin was there, and she was always perky and fun and great. Well, here I ended up finding out, it would have been like in May that I found out that I was pregnant with our first son, Hunter. And we thought, God, we need some help. And so anyway, I mentioned it to her if she'd be interested in coming over and working, and she thought, well, maybe. And so then she did. And so then she came on, I think in May or June.
It was May. Yep.
May, and then all of a sudden, she was kind of funny, and this was August, and she said to me, and Mom, she said, well, just to let you know, I'm also expecting. And it was like, what?
She
in
was
the world?
January. I was February.
Anyway, yeah, so it was going to be, we thought we could work it out. Well, she could be there for a month or two before she had it. Turns out that I think I had Hunter on a Sunday.
It was Sunday, December 14th
And
and the
then
21st
She
of
had
January.
it the next Sunday.
Honest to God.
It was.
Now what do I do?
And crazy.
It was a lot crazy.
It was, and that became
Here come the babies in the store.
The babies in the store. I think everybody can kind of remember that.
Oh,
part.
yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
I
Jim
think
Cartwright.
That's where it all originated with babies in this store.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that whole crazy era was the best time in
We'd
our
be
life.
nursing our babies in the back, and Jim Cartwright, oh. UPS guy, And he would, don't you remember? He quit coming that way. He didn't come around the back anymore.
Oh, because he'd wake the babies?
No, we were nursing or something. So
Oh,
We were in the nursing in the back
Yeah.
room, and he would come through the back door. We weren't expecting him to come to the back door, and he would be like,
Oh, I cannot
We're like,
wait to remind him of that.
yeah.
Oh, that is
Yep.
great.
It was great.
It was great.
Yep, that was the
That's
basis.
local
of,
hometown.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
people just come in and they see the kids and they get to know the kids and the whole family and everything.
Yep.
Speaking of that, let's talk about what Princeton looked like
Oh.
back when you opened, like how it how
Where do you
different.
want me to start?
Yeah.
Do you remember, Kim, how this was dealership Ford? There was Chevrolet. There was a bakery in front of it.
She probably does.
And then it was
there
a-
were horses.
A mercantile which also sold some shoes. Jack,
on the very corner here.
it was called Jack's Outlet.
It was on the very corner here at the stoplight.
I remember the corner over here being our own hardware. That's kind of how far back I go.
Coast
It was
to
my
coast.
memory.
And then
Yes,
right
coast
down-
to coast.
Coast to coast.
And then where was
Hobart's, and then
Yep.
Captain Drug.
Hobart's Drug was right
Capsner.
oh,
next
started
door.
here.
Yep.
And then where the chamber is though.
Capsners.
That was
Capsner's.
That was
Okay.
Captain Drug.
And next to Capsner's was a furniture store.
That was Free Tags.
Remember that?
I remember free tags, though. Wasn't it in the?
They
moved,
moved over and had a bigger building built.
They moved. Okay, so that's what I remember. Free tag being in the apartments,
Right.
the current apartments.
Yes.
Yep. And then downtown, I mean, we had this was a community that was basically everything that you would ever dream of here. We had the hospital downtown. We had the clinic downtown. We had
The bakery,
the
kebab.
bakery,
Oh,
Okay.
Wise Roads.
Yep.
Wise
Yeah.
Roads.
How far deep do we want to go?
Did
Right.
was Ben Franklin
Yes.
there
Ben
too?
Franklin.
Okay.
That was like Crystal's event center now.
Yep.
That was Ben
Franklin.
Franklin.
And then over here, where I believe is the dog grooming, the dog parlor, or on the corner here, was that an eye
The eye doctor.
doctor?
Peterson.
It was also at one
Peterson?
time the bank.
Peterson.
Yes, yes. So it was the bank,
The bank
and then
before that, yeah.
the eye doctor.
And then the
It's been
attorney. I
several
think.
buildings.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you recall your very first day open?
Yes, I was scared of the unknown, and didn't know how receptive that we might be as new owners. But we took it in faith, and I had the encouragement. You can go ahead. You've got it. I was encouraged from different aspects, but I know I was this, that. But we made it through the storms.
Yeah, I think that the difference was that, I mean, we didn't come from Princeton community. We came from, rural, because we were dairy farmers, and we came from Crown. And so that was that learning experience for everybody to get to know us and us to get to know them
For
kind of
sure.
a thing. So
Yes.
that was, I think, one of the biggest challenges in the beginning is because we were unknown, per se.
So you kind
the
of felt
community.
like Olsons were known, and so people trusted them when they came in here, and
Probably.
they just weren't sure what this was going to look like.
Yeah.
Did you immediately change a name?
No, listen, we came from Herlinger's in Crown, and we just brought the name up as another asset of the families.
Do you mean like an extension, like for Herlingers as the farm family, or is that what you mean?
No, they were into the grocery. They had a bar. They had a hardware store.
They had that bar in Crown. It was
Yes.
the Herlingers that started that.
We
Yep.
were them, and that's where I got the basic of retail.
Right, because Elaine, you've been such a strong businesswoman in this community for so long, and
That's where I really learned the core of it.
yeah, you were a part of a retail group. You have been a part of the chamber. You've been all of it,
How about all the ambassadors?
all the ambassadors. Yes.
Yes, and then when Penny said that she had went to St. Francis, well, I worked with that teacher, Schlepler, in teaching kids, business.
So you've just been a community leader for so long. And I often say as a chamber director, and this is just going on my 7th year, so I'm learning a lot too, but one thing I can say is opening and keeping open a small business is not easy work, and it just has been getting harder and harder and harder. So 50 years it's incredible. It really is.
Well, it was, I believe, that plan that God has for this store. And he knows the community needs it. And then we've got these wonderful girls that through the years have been such an asset to us. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't explain to you to truly understand the beautiful girls that have come and got applications, and we hired and stayed with us their whole 2-year, 4-year terms, whatever, and went on and have become such beautiful citizens today.
You know, and I think one thing too with you, Elaine, being a mentor to so many that, young youth that have come and worked here. I remember being here one time, and there was somebody from high school that was here. You were helping me, but she was sort of shadowing you. And she just wasn't understanding like the basic customer service piece, and you were pointing that out to her. And sometimes I think that's missing, and you weren't you were stern about it, I guess is what I want to say, is that and I think, again, that is also missing, that this is important and you need to make sure to do this and this and this. And, and when she left, you were kind of expressed some frustration, about it. But I know that she stayed here and you kept working with her. And it's so important to just think of all the people that you've impacted over the years that way.
And I know who that was. And she comes to me every time she comes home. I won't say her name, but she comes home and she's still thanking me what she learned, because what she learned here has helped her to be who she is today.
For sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So
She
if you
just
think over
mentions it every time.
over 50 years, yeah, that's really incredible. So what would you say? We talked about owning a small business and how it's a challenge, and what would you say some of the biggest challenges have been over the last 50 years?
I would think just plain shopping habits.
Yeah.
I would say was the biggest, with the onset of Amazon and the big stores.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID was
All of
hard.
that.
And what have you done I can think as a customer what you've done and what you get here that you can't get elsewhere, but what have you guys done to combat that? Amazon especially, and then Walmart moved in, and so how do you, because I sit across the street and this door is constantly moving with people through it all day long.
Amen.
I think we just have stayed the same. You always expect what you expect, and we follow through. I think, customer service, that kind of stuff.
But I think when we specialize in fit, and we're blessed to have different doctors that refer people to us, because we're strong on just not selling a pair of shoes. It's to get somebody the right shoe for the right purpose of whatever ailments that they have. So that's been also a focus of ours that you just can't buy online.
And you guys have worked closely with the hospital throughout the years, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And so tell us about that.
Dr. Rundy.
Well, Dr. Rundy has been very faithful in sending all these patients that he knows immediately the reason why they have come to him. And he will tell them what they have to do and so on, and then he will refer them to me.
But haven't you also worked with the nurses? I thought that you had, where nurses could come here and buy shoes that they could be on their feet all day long, and that was kind of a
That all goes
referral.
together.
Uh-huh.
Because
Right.
nurses went to them also, to Dr. Rundy.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, after being on their feet all day.
And one thing that sticks out in my mind when I think of Herlingers is the quality of shoes that you guys sell here.
I wanted to re-emphasize that
Yes.
fact. And that's what people will remember, how long their shoes did last. It isn't like they bought some cheapies and got the support and the outcome that they were looking for.
Yeah, and shoes are so important. I mean, as you get older, you realize how important they are.
And it takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, we do specialize, with narrows, mediums, wides. I mean, all different types, sizes for men, women, kids. And so I think that's one thing that you just can't find just walking into a Walmart or something like that.
Well, also, I can't think of very many places where you can actually get fit and somebody comes and sits down with you.
Yeah.
It used to be that was every store that you
Yes.
went into. And now I can't think of any other place that you can have that done, where you get your foot measured and somebody comes and puts a shoe on your foot. And, can you think of another place?
No, I mean, not even like at Shields. you know, where
Right.
where many people go to get, you know, athletic shoes. You just tell them like, here, I want this in this size, and they're not measuring you. They're
They
not.
hand it to you.
Yeah.
Yes. Try it out.
How'd they fit? Good. Okay. On to the next. You know.
Right.
And then they wear out in 2-3 weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because they've been misfit.
Yep.
So, do you guys have some funny, memorable stories from over the years I'm sure you have a million.
Exactly.
But any
Well,
that really stick out?
Some are X-rated. We can't even talk about. But
There's no end to the stories we could
oh
tell.
yeah. You know, we've had so many fabulous customers still
Yep.
in the past and still today. Characters beyond characters, and they share that with us, and got to know, you know, have long-term friendships with some of these people. You know, some of them are gone now.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Many
Yeah.
have passed
That, you know, we remember the characters that they were, and they would come in, and it was always a fun interaction.
Yeah.
But with customer service, we learned how to handle them.
Yeah.
And, you know, make it a joke or be it a little humor. And they took that with no grain of salt.
Yeah, and it formed long-term friendships because of it.
Absolutely.
Well, and I feel like in small businesses, and Kim can attest to this too, with some people that maybe they're not going to come in and buy shoes that day, but they might just come in and visit.
Oh,
sure.
that happens
Yep,
all
all
the
the
Yeah.
time. Still today.
Yeah, they're going to look around, but they're just looking to visit with somebody.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly right.
And usually the girls that we hire are really conversationalists. They are tuned, or if that's what they learn working here, they become the same. And the women love conversation, even with the girls that we have hired. You know, it isn't that, oh, they only got to talk to me or to Penny or to Robin. You know, they'll talk with the girls, likely.
Yeah, I love that. So I remember when I would come in here when I was in high school, middle school and high school, and I needed, you know, volleyball shoes or basketball shoes or softball cleats. We always came here. We always came here first. So that just brings me to the question of how do you decide what the community needs?
That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Very
It's
hard.
always a challenge, I think, to order to know what to order and for whom and what sports and
Season.
But we listen to what you are asking.
Yeah.
And then we try to seek to find it.
And I think the girls that, you know, we've mainly had a lot of girls. We've had recently some really great young gentlemen that worked with us, but a lot of those were in high school. And they kind of kept that pulse that, you know, they would bring back to us thoughts, well, you know, they're needing this or they're needing that or they're doing this or doing that. And it kind of, it helped, you know, get mirrored back to us like, oh, maybe we should just start carrying that. I think that even happened with O'Sells when they started carrying some
Princeton
of
apparel.
the Princeton apparel.
Yep.
You know, you just you have those high school people that are working with you, and they bring back like, hey, what about this? What about that? So that helped us in the past, I think, too.
I think so.
So
Yeah. So, were there any times throughout the years where you thought, I mean, whether it be COVID or way back, or where you thought, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to make a go of this? It's getting a little hairy.
for sure.
Number one was, I asked that question when I came and bought this place. Number two, the purchase of the whole building. That was the biggest decision I ever had to make.
Well, tell us more about that. Because O'Sells, that happened about, what, 7 years ago or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did that come to be, and how did you make that decision?
Well, that was rather unfair. They did not tell me they were selling the building. Okay? They came in February and said, Elaine, we are going on a trip to Arkansas, and we will be back in 2 or 3 weeks. And we are putting the store up for sale through auction.
Okay.
What did you say?
Because at this time,
No, but
did you
this
have
is
the
what-
wall and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Everything's
sure.
down.
Okay.
And so Litchfield came. They put it up for auction.
They're measuring the rooms and all that, and we're like,
Where are we
going
gonna
on?
go?
Yeah, where are we going to go?
But I have to tell you this. Talk about divinely led. They had it on auction for 10 days. We watched every day who's bidding against it. And there would be those that would come in and measure all the corners and to see how big the rooms are. And I said to them, well, if you buy this building, will you rent to me? No, No, I don't think so.
It was awkward.
So at the time, just so I have an understanding, that you did not own that space?
No,
Correct.
never. Always.
We
Oh.
always rented it from ourselves.
So when they were coming in to measure,
Yeah.
they were measuring your space too.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
That's
Okay.
what they were going to be buying also.
The whole building.
And so this went on with several. And I said, well, if I buy the building, will you run for me? No, that isn't what we want. Oh, okay. But we watched the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came the 12th, I had hired someone who was in the real estate business if he would help me because I've never bid in an auction. I said, I can't handle this. Will you please? And it was closed at 3 o'clock. He called me up at 2:45 and said, well, Elaine, nobody has bid against, but I had put in a bid that morning, the lowest bid possible.
Okay.
And he said if I was ready to fight. And I said, you got to fight, but I had told him I won't go above a certain price. Okay, he understood. At 5 to 5, still no response. At 3 o'clock, he called Litchfield and he said, what happened? And he said, well, you got your building.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Country Pup Kennel, a dog boarding and doggy daycare located right here in Princeton. They have a beautiful facility where dogs can play indoors and or outdoors. They have 24-hour care, and we bring our dog Charlie there, and he loves it. Your dog will too. Check out Country Pup Kennel. Wow. So you never had to do any extra bidding, or that was it?
No, it was a clear split decision. But
That's incredible, Elaine, because that had to have been scary because you're talking quite a small space over there compared to this entire building
We
that
had a
you've
lot
been
of
renting.
shoes. We had a lot of shoes. we were really fantastic at squirreling them away in places
I remember walking in the basement and was like, oh my gosh, all these shoes. And that wasn't too long ago. And now you can display them all.
Exactly.
But, we
Exactly.
had 2 renters downstairs, though. Oh, Cell's dead. Remember
The
when?
quilt shop
Yes.
in Louise's basement.
Louise's
Very good.
basement is what I remember.
Yep.
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 Now we have to ask Robin some questions.
What about?
Whatever you have.
Oh,
The best part about Robin being here this long is that she's been here forever, and all of her daughters have been here and worked with us.
one is
still are.
currently still. Yep.
And
the youngest.
now she's training her granddaughter to be up and coming because
She's
she's
4.
a little salesman already.
Yeah, she's 4. She's very, very good at it.
I love it.
Hey, big fella, my grandma will get you some boots.
Oh, that is
really cute.
so cool.
It is funny. She's very good.
Yes.
Well, and you mentioned the internet, and I was thinking, I remember, and maybe it's still this way. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though, Elaine. But I remember when I would come in and pay for a pair of shoes, you'd put your card on a.
Well, oh yeah, but it's not quite like that, but it's still a little bit archaic.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we still handwrite out our receipts, but we have a chip reader and stuff, so that it's not so old.
Handwritten receipts, though. I love that.
You too.
And that is, well, you never know if you'll be here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we've been led to go forward.
Yeah, and so, but I would imagine that there's parts of it that have made, like with the square or whatever you're using, that makes it a little easier
We're not that high tech. We have a card reader, and that it's just that it goes to the bank account like any other place. But
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't keep track of anything other than our sale. How much?
Okay, so I'm curious. I know you have a lot of shoes.
Oh.
So how do you keep track of that inventory, especially if are you pencil to paper?
Just about.
In essence, yes.
Well, we do our best.
Yep. In the last 5 years, though, I think we've done more with on the accounting side of things, making those changes to payroll and paying
Yes.
bills online and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes
To the inventory of the actual shoes, that's what we kind of keep track that way, and we do our best.
And
It's
then
great.
we have to say Susan is a real hawk about that
Yeah.
and works very close about it
she's excellent.
and informs.
Yeah, and
she loves doing that. She has worked for
very
Sears,
organized.
and she has worked for another big shoe company. So she was well grounded.
yeah, Sue is fantastic, and it's kind of like, I mean, you guys still know what you have, and
Yep, yep, yep.
that's what I think is really unbelievable, because what you have out here is on display. So it's just like it always has been. Like, I really like this shoe. Do you have it in a size? And you guys go to the back room, just like it used to be, and find it.
We do a lot of our ordering. They call them B2B sites. That's really, really nice.
What is that? What does that
It's
mean?
on the computer. You can see the inventory the companies have, and you know whether or not it's available right away.
Okay.
So that way we can tell people, oh yeah, I should have it within the week or whatever.
Okay.
It's really neat. That's been such a blessing.
So you truly can get what somebody needs if they come in here and
Yep.
say, "This is what I'm
Yep.
looking for. Can you look to see if you can get it?" And
Yes.
then, yep, sure, we might come in next week.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's huge customer service. I mean, I don't. Those big box stores will not.
For
Yeah,
sure.
this
Do
is what
that
we have.
for you.
We're out. Yep.
No, they'll just say go online yourself and good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've even seen those videos where people say, when I get asked if we have it in the back room, all that's in the back room is some leftover cookies, and so we're not looking at anything back there. But you guys have a back room that you and a
Couple of them,
basement.
yep. We
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
We do.
yep.
It's been a great place for me.
Yeah, and another thing I just think it's so cute and cool about the store is that you have the basement, and you have access to get your shoes. And we were here one time for leadership, and you guys were showing us how you bring the shoes up, because it's so many. It's a lot of trips up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, can you explain what your method is to get the shoes up?
So we have a little ice fishing sled that it's one of the narrower ones, and we have a board that lays out on the steps, and
Yeah,
we just
the board lays down, and then and then so we can pull up.
yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's get our workout.
I
that
think it's
day.
great.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to insert this. Ask Penny if she doesn't talk about it every week on the phone to me. She has to now walk at night
Yeah,
because she
'cause-
doesn't have the steps. that
it's
she
true,
used to
it's
walk.
true.
Honest to God, it's like
don't get
when
your
we had
steps
everything
in.
downstairs.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we're
I mean, we
running-
were, and then when we had to have inventory piled to the ceiling, we were up on a ladder,
stretching,
and then we were run downstairs like 50 times a day, and up and down carrying stuff.
we didn't
and,
have step counters, but we knew we got
and
enough in.
honest to God, it was the greatest thing
Yeah.
to keep in shape.
For sure.
Yep.
But I thought when I saw the sled being pulled up, I thought, okay, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, they have it. They have it
improvise,
figured out.
you
The
know. figure it
archaic
out.
elevator. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So
It was.
I'd kind of like to ask each of you this question: What are you most proud of? Being in business for 50 years, and Robin, you've been here for the majority of those. What are you most proud of with the business?
I believe that I am most proud of the people that I have met and could help and come back and compliment and appreciate the work we do. That's what I get out of it.
Yeah, makes your heart happy.
Yeah, especially when
think-
you told the story about your past employee, how she
Yeah.
comes in, and you made a significant impact on her life, and that has got to be so rewarding.
And her sister worked for us also, and she is likewise, but she's not as vocal about it as her sister is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd say that I'd agree with you. It's really rewarding when people come back and say, "Oh my gosh, if it wasn't for you, my feet would still be hurt, and I wouldn't be able to walk or whatever." And people they come in with some difficult braces and things. We have to figure out shoes to fit them in, and we figure it out. And they come back, "Thank you so much." That's the best part, I think, for me.
Right. I would say the same. And I think for me, it's the one thing that we did was we were very involved with even like the Princeton pageants. And we helped out numerous times, and we did
Our candidate would
Our candidates
always win.
Oh, you.
That's right, because they would be sponsored.
but
That's right.
We would
And but-
coach them and what to do, what to say, what this and that, and still get a lot of thanks to currently they're still in this community, and they'll mention how much that meant to them. So those kind of things, if you can somehow impact a life, and give, and they give back to us, and so that's been a great proud thing, I would say, for me too.
And now, Robin, you're the one that's mainly here, and does it for so many years, and you really do. Like Penny, I just remember you so well from a kid and being in here, and I also remember thinking, like looking at you like almost like a princess, like oh, Penny is here, and just like when I was a little kid.
I did too. That's so nice.
Yes, yes.
You made my day.
Yes, I just remember thinking that, of you. And Robin, you are just such a light to people when people come in. I mean, you've had some tough times, we know that for sure. And you just, but you always are so positive, and you bring that to people.
Yeah, Pollyanna.
Yes, absolutely. And you, I mean, when customers come in here, you just bring that light to people, which is, that is a great, I mean, that's part of customer service too,
All part of it.
Yep.
Community knows all three of you. They know exactly
Yeah.
who all three of you are, which is huge in a small town.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's been a good ride, for sure.
Yeah.
Really fun, rewarding, and everything good.
I don't know this isn't a final comment, but Robin, what do some people now and then come and say, what do they call me?
Oh yeah. Well, this was Tim Wenzel. I can say that he's gone now because my husband worked for him growing up and stuff. So
He was a plumber.
he was a plumber.
In our-
Tim's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Right
remember
out on
that?
County Road 19. Anyways, he'd come in and he'd say, "Oh, is that Shushini here?"
Shushini?
Yeah. Yep.
Just
Yep.
do that for a joke.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
Or else Corey
Shushini.
Corey calls her the Queen of Crown. Corey Zeroth, he calls her the Queen. Is the Queen in today?
The Queen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So,
The beautiful people, though, we got to know.
yes.
I love Shuhini.
Shushini.
Sheeny.
I thought you might enjoy that.
Yes.
Shuhini.
Yep.
Shushini.
That's a good
You got that? Union Times? You got that, Zach?
So Zach, I mean, so I think, was it your grandma, Jane? Or great-grandma?
Great-grandma.
Great-grandma?
Jane
So
Riedel.
Yeah, Jane Riedel. She was a great customer, a great friend of my mom's. So that's the great-grandson.
Miss her very much.
Very much.
Yes. Yeah.
Miss her very much.
Yeah, Mom would go out to, have lunch with her all the time. But Mom had lots of great friends she would go to K-Bob with all the time. And,
Yes.
and your great-grandma was one of them, so
Yep.
awesome.
And Elaine, didn't you have a time where you would go to, like at 10 o'clock or something, you'd go over to K-Bob, or wasn't there I thought there was a time that you
Oh,
would,
gosh. No. it
Which
was
time?
I mean, your secret's out, Elaine.
Noon to 2.
Okay, noon to 2.
Noon to 2.
Maybe
but
11:30.
There was a time that I went over there when what was that company that came and bought all that land out and was setting up farmers? That, oh God.
I don't remember
I
that.
shouldn't have brought that up.
But
they would get together for breakfast, and so I would go over, and the jokes and the humor was outstanding.
oh yeah.
That,
But the main thing was going out with Jane and all her friends that she had met in time, and they'd be there from noon till they
2
would
or
close
2:30.
Yeah, they'd close at 2, but Mom was still there when they had closed.
Yeah.
So many people that I know went to K-Bob, and that was so sad when they closed
Oh,
because they
it's-
would
yeah,
go
miss
for
it.
hours and have coffee,
Yep,
meet
yep.
for coffee.
Yeah,
Where friends meet to eat. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
we
was
really
fun.
miss
It was
that.
fun.
it was.
Yeah.
that's what the town really misses.
Yeah, that was a
Sorry to
huge
say,
loss.
for all the other eating places, there's nothing like they
Or the
were.
Frontier, the Frontier Steakhouse. That was
Yeah.
a big.
But
Another
they are
pitch.
out of town.
But they were still. It was still a place that people would come downtown.
And again, it's that, family-owned
Yes.
business, small business that, at a certain time, like, how can you keep it going? And if
Yes.
the family members don't want it, and, what do you do? And how do you move forward with that? So what are some plans moving forward for the next 50 years?
We're trusting the Lord, just trusting the Lord what He leads us all to be doing.
Okay.
Planning on still
I
continuing
Continued
won't
on.
be
success.
around.
Yeah. I'd say that this has been a real success story.
Yeah, because
I would say,
Yeah,
That's
so-
some pressure on you.
Yeah. Well, I
we're
think
training
we're
little
doing-
ones at 4 years
That's
old.
true.
Yeah, and she is good.
Coming right through. So
Yeah, she's
I
very
love
good.
it.
Yep.
Yep.
And she has 2 sisters, so they'll
Yeah.
all 3 be selling shoes.
yeah, you guys have the whole line of people to.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, we have lots of good. We could be here all day with all the fun stories. We have chasing shoplifters and
Okay, let's have one story.
We got to have one shoplifter story.
yeah.
So Osel's, a fella with a jacket on, and he walked over to our door, and because you could see, and I was at the corner of the office here at which would have been Osel's office, and he moved his arms and his coat was full of stuff, and I said, "Hey, what's in your coat?" And Penny, he pushed the door and he started running. I go, "Shoplifter!" And Penny yells, "I'm on it!" So we go booking it down the alley, right? Where the ice cream shop is. We're like, just going crazy.
Did you catch him?
Yes.
Yes.
No, you did not.
So we would never do it again today because it was insane what we did. And I remember who was it?
There was two guys behind Villa Manor doing
and
something.
I kept
You're like,
calling
"Call 911!"
Yes, and people were thinking, "What are you doing?"
I mean,
chasing
they were
this
hoofing
guy
it.
down, and he was like, "I don't know. Did we get all the way down to the church?"
No. He went through behind Villa Manor, come around by the mall, the Riverside, or that George Mall is what we used to call it.
Okay.
And then through the back of the Bible bookstore. He dropped. There were two Pendleton shirts he dropped in the parking lot behind the Bible bookstore. But those fellas that were behind the Villa Manor, they went with us. They came around the front, and we were following them around the back. And
Community service.
Exactly. You got a whole posse going with you.
And then he's like, "Oh, I need an ambulance." And we're like, well, as he's smoking a cigarette, we're like, well, maybe you shouldn't shoplift.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Crazy.
That is a great story.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
We have many.
Oh yeah.
I am sure.
Need an ambulance.
And we're like,
We're
don't
not calling.
shoplift. Well, they have to.
Don't shoplift or smoke.
It was. There's numerous stories like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was one of the best. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be.
Like, did you tackle him?
No, so the guy who helped us, I don't even know who they were, but he grabbed him by the jacket, and the guy was trying to get away, and he's like, "Simmer down." He kept telling him, and the guy, he was winded. He was like. It was funny. We didn't think it was funny, but we were like feeling like, oh yeah,
We were in good shape.
We
From
were
the
booking
stairs.
it.
Yep, with the stairs.
Oh, and we were oh my God, it was like, I'm on it, Penny says. It was so great.
I remember the day because they were serious when they come back. They weren't laughing.
No, we weren't laughing because we were like, yeah, we got him.
But mission accomplished.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, like we're linebackers or something. And here we are. And I don't know if you remember Nancy Bierman, but we told her the story. She goes, "Are you nuts for doing that?" And we were like, well, we didn't even think about it.
Didn't think about it. It was a knee-jerk reaction.
Yes, 100%.
Defending our territory.
She's like, you could have been killed. And we're like,
we sure. Today, would we do it?
no, maybe.
I don't know.
Robin
Well,
would.
I would.
Robin
I
would.
definitely would.
She would.
It's my shoes,
Yeah.
It was
It
great.
could be.
But that's divine intervention, I think, too.
maybe.
For sure.
Stories are
Kept
the
us
best.
safe. Yep.
That
was
is
crazy.
so awesome. So, Elaine, I'm going to end with you, and I am wondering, what piece of advice would you give yourself 50 years ago when you're starting this venture with what you know now?
If I'd known then what I know now.
I don't know you'd do much different.
Beg your pardon?
I don't know that you do much different.
I don't think so.
No, from what I know, I see success in what I have done that I think I would continue because it is fruitful.
Yeah.
And
And I believe in don't give up, have courage, and go forward.
exactly. And you're all about community too. That's what it's all about. And the community continues to support you.
That's why God made this store right in the center of Princeton.
And been here for 50 years.
And very well known.
And it is, as I said earlier, when I came in, it was 11 years old only. Everything was new. So that's how old the building is.
Well, it's a great building. I mean, it really is a great building. Yeah.
And it has withstood all the past.
Exactly.
And it's a good looking yet today. compared to other stores, how do they look in these malls? So distasteful.
But the nice other thing we're having is we're doing some improvements to the building. We're doing brand new signs.
Yep, they'll be-
on
yeah.
both sides.
that'll be nice.
That kind of thing. So we're just trying to do upgrade and upgrade. I know that if you've noticed, Robin has done a lot of updates with the interior portion of it.
Yes.
And really clean things up and making things modern. And we try to put the best foot forward kind of a thing.
I
Yeah.
love all these photos up here. The history of Princeton photos.
Yeah, they're cool. I
That's
think so,
really
too.
cool.
Ourselves left those. They
Yeah.
had bought those and
Yep.
had them
and left
made.
them, and left them here. They're
I think
They're awesome.
the former newspaper,
Union Eagle.
The Union Eagle, yeah.
Provided those to
Or
yeah.
maybe the Historical Society too,
That's what I
perhaps.
think. Yeah, I
no,
think that,
it was the deeds that had taken those pictures, and they had them enlarged.
they are so cool.
I think it's a tin thing. Aren't they on a piece of metal? Up
What?
there, aren't they on a piece of metal, like a tin sign, sort of?
Carol had them put on that kind of
Yeah.
a sign.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, they're really neat. Well, yeah, huge congratulations to you guys. 50 years, that's amazing, and just best wishes for 50 more years.
Thanks.
And
Appreciate it.
Shop Herlingers.
yeah,
Very good.
Absolutely.
They have a
Thanks.
ton of shoes. If you listeners have not been in here for years, you've got to stop in because they literally have anything.
they do. They have anything and everything.
I'm staring at cowboy boots. I'm staring at work boots and tennis shoes and rain boots and sandals are new here that I already have my eye on a pair.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Did you guys bring the snow by putting those sandals out?
Oh.
Well,
Is that the bad omen? Maybe.
Maybe.
We had them out
Let's
in the
hope.
window too soon.
Let's hope
Yeah.
not.
Maybe it's not going to be as bad as the storm as we think.
No, it's not. No,
Yeah.
no.
Like nothing.
Well, thank you guys for letting us invade your store today and be on location. It was really fun to take the podcast on the road across the street and do that here. We appreciate that.
And we appreciate having you do this for us.
Thank you.
And being
Yes.
that you guys were a part of the community going all the way back too, so that's a fun interaction.
It is. Yes, that's really neat.
Yep.
So,
Several different generations.
yes, exactly. That's really cool.
And it
Yeah.
continues on. So.
It continues on. Exactly.
Dad was in, that's why I was waving too. Art was in here looking at shoes.
Oh,
He was about 15 minutes ago, so
cute,
that's
cute.
why I was waving to.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, until next time, this is Kim and Mary, and Zach's over in the corner there. This is Princeton. Stay here.
Play here.